right, here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's now 3 o'clock on the dot. 3 o'clock on the dot. It's DJ Lumberjack, aka Sam Jack. We're ready to attack on the mic, attack on the vlog. Listen to me because I will prologue. It's a prelude. That's alright, because I'm in the right mood. Hey, yo, what's up? It's Sammy Jack, and right now I'm putting you on attack. It's a freestyle for the vlog 25, and right now I'm staying alive. Not like John Travolta, more like the man. That's alright, cause you don't understand. Just welcome. If you don't really know, this is me, Lumberjackers on the flow. Yep, here I am. I'm straight switching. That's alright, cause you know I'm not kidding. I got the talent, and I also got the host. But listen to me, because you know I'm the most. I'm also doing the technical directing, but that's alright, cause my mind, I'm flexing. Just keep it really funky. Where did my mouse go? It's getting sticky. I think it freezes a little bit because so much is going on the computer tip. I mean the bits and the bytes and the megabits and the RAM. Don't you just understand? I am the man. Here it just goes 1, 2, 3. Anyways, let me fade out the music. Let me fade out the music. Hey, all right. Well, we had a little bit of a prolonged intro because I was feeling that beat. That is a loop beat that I made with a bunch of samples. And if you don't know who I am Sam DJ Lumberjack. Thank you for joining us for the 25th episode of this vlog. And just to give you a quick intro, it's the 6th week of the shelter in place. We've been doing this since May 18th. I stopped working around the 11th or the 13th, and it took me a few days from sheltering in place and not working to be like, hey, we got to start doing more with Viral Media Network. So here it is. It's a daily journal every weekday at 3 p.m. It used to be at 1, now it's at 3, but it's a daily journal of professional and personal development and progress. So sharing with you what's going on with Viral Media Network, sharing with you what's going on with my personal life at home, how my wife and I are coping with the shelter in place, things that we're doing, using it as an opportunity to better ourselves, tweak what we're doing, and that leads me to my opening monologue. But first, I want to make sure that you follow us on Instagram at viralmedia.network. We're on Facebook. Viral Media Network is how you search for us, or our website, viralmedianetwork.com. And of course, you're on this YouTube channel, so make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Viral Media Network 415, just like the area code. So thank you again for watching. We are a quarter of a century, not in years, but in episodes. So we are a quarter of the way to 100 episodes. I think that's kind of a nice little milestone. And of course, on Prince's passing, the anniversary of Prince's passing, not the best day to remember, but we can use it as an opportunity to remember Prince and his greatness. And of course, some of the recommendations that I have on the show. If you don't know the show, I always recommend a podcast, a book, an album. I have a recipe of the day. So a lot of that is Prince related. The recipe of the day is something we made actually last night. We had some spaghetti squash, and my wife was like, let's make a spaghetti out of that. And I wasn't really feeling the pasta part of it because we'd had a lot of full meals lately. And we did a spaghetti squash, and if you never made spaghetti squash, it's called spaghetti squash because when you cook it and you scoop it out of the rind, it makes stringy spaghetti-like little strings. It's spaghetti, same consistency, but it's a vegetable. It's a squash. So especially for people that are vegan or gluten-free, it's a great alternative. And if you just want to switch up, like last night, I wasn't really feeling the pasta, but we made a nice ground turkey and kale sauce topping, if you will, and then made the kale. I'll get to that in a sec, but I want to first get to my monologue. But of course, my mouse is sticking. I think it has to do with running all these programs at once, so I just need to upgrade my RAM, and I lost my mouse again. So I'm vamping a little bit. Here it goes. Here it goes again. Now it's sticking. Okay, it's stopping. Let me I have a timer now. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to try and get better with timing stuff. So I just started my timer for the monologue, and of course, as soon as I did that, I got a pop-up, and my mouse is sticking. So let's take that pop-up off. Pop-up window on my browser here on this monitor, as you can see. So anyways, the topic of the monologue, what I wanted to start the show with the monologue, is basically talking about all these improvements and all this opportunity that I've been talking about on the show. This kind of briefly touch on that. You know, I've said a lot about this is a great opportunity. You're at home. You got a lot of time on your hands. Some of us are working from home, so it's a little different. But if you're not working, of course, you're going to stress out about not getting money, trying to figure out the unemployment. We've talked a lot about ways to improve yourself. We're going to talk a little bit more about the financial independence that we've talked about before on the show. But basically, getting better, and this is my personal journey. It's not a constant upward trajectory progression, okay? You got to keep at it. It doesn't have to be this huge, new, or grandiose thing. It simply is the effort is there, and the mindfulness of wanting to be better, wanting to improve, wanting to not necessarily start anything new, but just do the things that we normally do, but better. Simply refine what you do at home, all your daily habits. Get back to a hobby that you didn't get a chance to do. Start learning new stuff in the kitchen, or like, oh gosh, I've always wanted to be able to make this, or I make this all the time, but I just want to make it better. Just don't give up. Keep pushing. And even if it's the smallest thing, like, I need to get better about doing laundry more often, or when I do laundry, this is something that we always do. We don't fold it all the time, right? Stuff like that. So that's just something that I want to put out there. That's the opening monologue of the day. Is just, I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but just, have some goals. Goals are good. And this is a huge opportunity since we're sheltering in place and we're not stuck in place. Okay. We want our home and our dwelling to be a reflection of who we are, and every little nook and cranny of our house, just like Marie Kondo, sparks joy. And reconnecting with the things in our house, and the books that we haven't read, and this kind of thing. So that's basically where I'm at with that. Let's move on to the first topic of the day. But first, I think we're gonna do. Should we do the recipe, or should we do? Let's do the topics of the day. Let's do the topics of the day, because we always want to shout out. We always want to shout out our essential workers. That's the first thing. That's the first topic of the day. So thank you, postal workers, delivery workers, food service workers, farm workers, first responders, police, fire, ambulance, Coast Guard, everyone working in the food industry, everyone at the hospitals. I've got a buddy that's a nurse down at Stanford. Nurses, orderlies, administration, doctors, anyone that is putting themselves at risk to stay at work, to keep this economy going, to keep us healthy, to keep us safe. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we always do that. And the next topic I want to talk about is, I mentioned the financial independence. Well, my buddy Joel has told me that the Choose-Fi, which I have mentioned before in the show as a podcast. I'm going to make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. Choosefy.com, on their Facebook, they're doing live Facebook webinars or webcasts, however you want to say it. Now, specifically, there's one that they're doing that's kind of an open forum. So I want to share that first. Let me get to the page here. this is just an announcement. So go to choosefi.com or find ChooseFi on Facebook. It's facebook.com/group/ChooseFi. And here, let me get to the screen. But basically, Brad Barrett, Sean Mullaney, Ryan Inman, and Jennifer Ma, who I believe are the co-founders or basically run ChooseFi. They're going to have basically a live Q&A, and we're going to be, the audience is going to be the focus. And they don't really have a schedule, so it's really just going to be kind of open forum based on what is going on with the audience or the chat room, so to speak, or the comment section, if you were. Sorry, I'm trying to. So yeah, so here it says, have financial resilience and financial planning questions. Get them answered by joining Brad Barrett, Sean Mullaney, Ryan Inman, and me. That's Jennifer Ma, who made the post on this Facebook Live event. So it's today at 4:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern time. Here's a link to the. Trying to scroll down a little bit. You can see my mouse is sticking a little bit. So I think I'm just going to turn. That might help if I turn that off. Okay, so yeah, so here's the. It's today at 4:30, and again, it's a little frustrating when the mouse is sticking, but so be it. So that's the topic of that. The second topic, other than financial planning, or sorry, the essential workers, it's financial planning. If you're not familiar with the financial independence movement, it's basically ways that you can not be tied down to traditional mortgages or traditional mainstream banks. It's doing steps and techniques to motivate yourself and empower yourself to be financially independent from the overall economy. And I'm just scratching the surface. So I think it's something that's really good to check out. I really recommend it. So check this out. That's live today. Check on their website again, or Facebook Live. Again, that's facebook.com/groups/ChooseFi. And it's a great thing. And again, I'm just scratching the surface. None of this is coming from, I'm not an expert at any of this. I'm learning as we go. So again, this is what this vlog is. It's a journal. It's an evolution. It's a growth. So hopefully you will grow with me, and and we'll all have different paths on that. So that's just how it goes. The last topic of the day I want to talk about is if you heard people protesting in places like Virginia and Kentucky, all over really, well, it turns out that some people that were protesting, specifically in Kentucky, well, by protesting, I don't know if it's a direct correlation, but basically after this weekend in Kentucky, coronavirus cases spread after protesting. So you can kind of put two and two together because they weren't sheltering in place. They weren't social distancing. I'm trying to bring up the article here so you can see it. Let's go on. Oh, is this? That's fine. 1 minute. We've already. So yeah, here it is. You can see me bring it up on this monitor. Let me bring it full screen so you guys can see it. That's just an ad. How to order Grubhub without paying Grubhub prices. Here we go. Kentucky reports highest corona infection increase after a week of protests to reopen the state. So they want to reopen the state. Obviously, there's a big movement for people to, spark the economy again, and they're willing to sacrifice themselves or put themselves at risk. So there was an additional 273 confirmed infections after the weekend's protest. So again, there's not a direct correlation, but it's pretty apparent. Other states that it broke out in were Kentucky, Ohio, Minnesota, and Michigan. They're taking to the streets and congregating. Obviously, they didn't do it at a 6 foot distance. Now, this is different than you might have heard in Israel. They did a protest for Netanyahu, and everyone stayed 6 feet apart. This did not happen here. They stood directly outside. Open up Kentucky, you're not a king. They were basically, it was just crazy. Like, they're just not practicing social distancing, and that's a direct correlation. I think it's, and again, this is on Newsweek. So thank you, Newsweek, for covering this. And it's just a shame that people, I mean, I understand wanting to get the economy back going, but it's also like, hey, like, this is not cool. We have to sacrifice this. We can't afford, I mean, just survive. That should be your most important thing right now, is surviving. So, it's possible to do stuff. We just have to shift your way of thinking. That's why I referenced the choose fi. You got to be a shift in how you now conduct your business. It's got to be more remote. It's got to be curbside pickup. It's got to be online. It's got to be all these things that correlate with sheltering in place and protecting you and other people. It's not just about yourself. It's about putting others at risk. So, it's just a shame that people have that mentality and don't kind of see the bigger picture. Some people think it's a hoax. Some people think all these things. And I just think it's just silly. It's just silly. Let's move on. I talked a little bit about the recipe of the day. I'll go more in detail now. But as I said, it's the kale. It's the kale turkey spaghetti squash. And it's delicious. So you slice a spaghetti squash in half, a nice big size spaghetti squash. You put it in a pan filled with a third the way up of water. You bake it in the oven for a half hour at 350 degrees, so make sure to preheat the oven at 350. While that's baking, in a saute pan with some olive oil, heat some olive oil, put in about a pound of ground turkey. Again, the details are in the description of this video, in the description part. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Saute up your ground turkey. When it's mainly cooked, mostly brown, add in some red onion, chopped red onion. Add in 6 cloves of garlic, 5 to 6 cloves of garlic, minced, pressed, or minced, however you do it. Saute that up for a while, get it nice and sauteed, cooked down. Add the kale, cook that down. Add some seasoning like oregano, salt, pepper. You can even add some powdered garlic if you really like it garlicly, in addition to the fresh garlic. I like dried oregano and dried basil. If you have fresh basil, throw that in there. Let that saute, and then when that's done cooking, after about a half hour, you know when the squash is done, because you can press it with a fork or something, and it pushes down. Take that out of the oven, let it cool for 10 minutes, and then after it's cool, you scrape it through. You scrape it out, with a spoon. And what that does, if you didn't know, as you scrape, the reason it's called spaghetti squash, as you scrape it out, it'll become stringy, and that's your spaghetti. And then you mix them. You put that in a bowl. You put your topping on. You sprinkle some Parmesan or Romano cheese on it, and there you go. It's a wonderful meal. We had it with a salad and some bread. It was delicious. I highly recommend it. It's really easy. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to cook, and you can you add more stuff to the turkey and the kale. If you're vegetarian, you can use a substitute like tofu or a ground turkey, ground meat alternative. You can use ground beef, ground chuck if you want. It's up to you. I think the kale goes better with the turkey. That's just my personal opinion. So again, you can make it vegetarian if you want. And that's the recipe of the day. Let's move on. The good deed of the day comes from AOC. That's right, none other than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I know I think I said that right, but I always kind of fumble with her name. But yeah, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ocasio-Cortez. Um, she is hand delivering food. I think she just did it for a day, but she might have done it for more or just a few hours or whatever. But she is hand delivering food. You got to check out these pictures. It's unbelievable. Um, personally hand delivering food to those that are in need during this. Let's see. I'm going to go back to my timer. Excuse me. So I'm trying to keep on track, and of course I'm getting sidetracked with my mouse sticking. But here we go. So here are these pictures. Check it out. And this is on Upworthy, and the link again is in the description. But here she is with her staff, and you see she's fully protected. She's got some nice thick gloves on. She's got her mask on. She's got a hat. Not that you need the hat, but I'm sure it just keeps your hair under wraps. And here she is. Everything's unfortunately wrapped in plastic, but what are you going to do? I think it would be better if it was wrapped in paper, paper bags. But I think it might be more sanitary this way. So those are in need. For the last few weeks, percent of her usual campaign fundraising to food pantries and other organizations in New York City. Her team has worked hard to distribute food to those in need as the pandemic continues. However, she's not resting easy at home. She's accompanying her team on the rounds in order to get more hands on deck. The House Democrat took to Twitter to share photos of her team's outreach, praising the volunteers for the dedicated work. Without a doubt, Ocasio-Cortez exemplifies what good leadership looks like. So that's a good deed of the day. Thank you, AOC. You are the bomb. We really appreciate what you do. And again, where did my mouse go? Okay, go back down there. And if you're also wondering, on a side note, while I'm stalling here to make this happen, I'm using this program called OBS, and it's online broadcast service, I believe it's called. Oh, come on, mouse, quit sticking. So, I'd like to get smoother at this, but when the mouse sticks, it gets frustrating. So I'm trying to get out of this good deed, and there we go. Now we want to go down here and get out of the screenshot. So you can see my lovely face instead of this article that we just read. All right, go. There we go. Oh. Come on. There we go. Now back up here and cut. There we go. All right, let's move on. Moving right along, we got the video of the day. It's not from YouTube today. It's actually from Facebook Watch, and it is a preview. It's just a preview of a film that is the executive produced by Stephen Curry. So it's actually really, really interesting. It's called Jump Shot: The Kenny Sailor Story, and it's about the guy, I believe it was in the 50s or early 60s, that had actually invented the jump shot. So you can just search Jump Shot: The Kenny Sailor Story on Facebook. And this is just the preview, like I said. So let's watch this preview real quick. Not sure why we're not hearing the audio. Oh, there we go.
No one shot.
We're talking about the guy who found the jump shot or something?
Do you know who that guy is?
No.
I just thought the jump shot was just a part of the game.
The sport of basketball has seen many names shape its rich history, but there's one name that escapes memory.
Jump shot.
You saw Kenny Sailor's play. You saw the jump shot.
In some ways, he was playing a different game.
No one shot that up until then like he did.
Chances are you don't know the story of Kenny Sailors and the jump shot.
The trail got lost after he...
Okay, so you get the idea of that, and basically it looks awesome. And it's cool to see Steph Curry become an executive producer. So the jump shot, the Kenny Sailor story, Curry's executive producer, and maybe he's kind of like me. He's like, well, I'm not playing basketball, so I got time to work on this. I'm sure it's a little bit already in the works, based on if this preview is up already, and they got some footage up for it. Uh, I can understand that he's probably already been working on it, but now that he's got a lot more time on his hands, um, as I said, it's probably something that's already been in the works. But again, he's got time to work on it, and so there you go. I look forward to seeing that on Facebook Watch. The full movie, that's just the trailer. But while we're talking about videos, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and share this YouTube channel, Viral Media Network 415. Talk a little bit about what's going on with our developments. We have 2 different podcasts we are shooting the interview for this week. Tonight, we're going to be interviewing Richie Cunning, the rapper, and his DJ Bad DJ. What up, Richie Cunning and the boy DJ Bad DJ? And on Thursday, we're going to be interviewing DJ Champagne Hughes and Ryan Nicole. They're both entrepreneurs, actors, and performers. They're not going to be live. I'm just taping the interviews, and then we're going to release them in the next few weeks. And then next week, I'll be interviewing Al Kirk, who I mentioned before. Sorry, Alric. I mispronounced his name. Of the Making Movies is Hard podcast, and Ramsey Anderson, the scriptwriter and also producer of Think You Can DJ. So that's the development of Viral Media Network. Stay tuned for that. It's pretty exciting to know that not only this show that we're doing daily, but we're keeping with the podcast. We're going to keep with the hiking videos. And as I mentioned yesterday, we're going to be doing some more review videos. So the California Crusher, which is my wrestling alter ego, he's going to be reviewing wrestling movies. And I, as DJ Lumberjack, are going to be reviewing albums. So look for that material coming soon. Just got to find the time and schedule it all. But those are the developments for Viral Media Network. Okay, I'm coming up on about a half hour, so I got to move right along and finish up here. We got a couple more things. We got through our topics. We got through the video of the day. And last, we have 3 more things left. We got the album of the day, the book of the day, and the podcast of the day. And they all are related to Prince because today we honor his passing, and it's a moment of reflection. Particularly for me, it's about the fentanyl pandemic because he had hip surgery, and he got hooked on fentanyl because he didn't know how powerful it was, and it just eased his pain. And this isn't the definitive answer of why he died, but I believe it has a lot to do with it because I think Tom Petty. It happened to Tom Petty as well. He was on fentanyl, and it's just a dangerous, dangerous thing. But we don't want to get too doom and gloom. I want to celebrate Prince for who he was as a person, as a musician, and that is what these next recommendations are all about. So bear with me while I bring up the graphic. So the album of the day, bum 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 bum, the album of the day, is of course Prince and the Revolution Parade. There's a link to buy this in the description. And first of all, I like it, as an album because it's got an awesome fold, an awesome sort of collage of all the artists, the band, Prince and the Revolution. This is a great standalone album, but also, if you know the movie Under the Cherry Moon, that's one of the movies he did. So the most famous movie Prince did, of course, was Purple Rain. And some people like it, some people hate it, but it's probably his most famous one. Excuse me, not supposed to touch my face, but if I'm staying indoors, I'm not going to be in contact with other people, I'm okay. So the album of the day is Parade by Prince, but there are songs like the title track of the movie Under the Cherry Moon that are on this album. And I'm trying to think what other stuff. I think this whole album is the the official motion picture soundtrack to Under the Cherry Moon. However, the album is called Parade. I recommend watching that movie. It's in black and white. It's kind of like a film noir. Morris Day, of course, is in it. The Revolution's in it. It's a great movie. I wouldn't call it, Oscar worthy, but if you're a Prince lover, it is amazing. Some people don't like it as much. It's definitely not as good as Purple Rain per se, but I think it's good. The other one to check out is Graffiti Bridge. But I digress. That's the album of the day is Parade by Prince. Check it out. It's got Kiss on it, of course, which is probably the most famous of his songs from that album. Yo, Kiss. I can't even pretend to try and sing that, but you know that song. If you're a Prince lover, you should know that song. And if you don't know Prince, that's why I'm recommending the album. So there you go. Let's move on, and we're gonna go to the podcast. Why is it sticking white? There we go. Okay, go back up. The podcast of the day, and I actually found a cool podcast about Prince. And believe it or not, it's all about Prince's family. And it's called My Prince Podcast. And I'm going to move it. Oh. Is that moving it? No. Anyways, you could read it. Let's go over here. I'm going to cut to it. And the link to this, again, is in the description. But it's called My Prince Podcast. And it interviews family members of Prince. And this is it right here. Here's some pictures. Here's the podcast. Dig, if you will, this picture. And some of these are actually about Prince fans and their first encounter with Prince. My first Prince concert. Comedian Stephen Lynch about Prince. So host Dana Marshall. And it's great. I guess I was mistaken that it was about Prince's family. So I apologize about that. But it's all things Prince. I recommend it. Sorry, I'm going to try and go to the details here so we can find out a little bit more. The loss of Prince was hard for me, as it was for many. I kept asking myself the question, why am I so dramatically affected by the passion of a man I've never met? The answer to that question is complex. The answer lives inside the question of you. How has Prince impacted your life? Can you remember the moment you realized your connection to an artist that was unlike any other connection in your life? This podcast is not the passing of an icon. It's about the moments in your life that Prince has touched. If you're not busy for the next 7 years, let's pretend we're family. Sit down and have a chat. If you're looking for a podcast that will remind you of why you fell in love with Prince for the first time, this is the one. Thank you for welcoming me into your ear holes. If you subscribe to this podcast, I hope to have you as a guest on my Prince story someday soon. So you might even be able to be on this podcast. And so that's the podcast recommendation of the day. And of course, the book of the day is also a Prince book. And it's actually a book that he wrote. It's called The Beautiful Ones. And a lot of Prince books that came out after he died were biographies or firsthand accounts of someone that knew him. This is actually journal entries from Prince, and it's rare personal photos. And I got the hard cover because it's just great. But every chapter is a different chapter in his journal, and it's from the days of when he was a little kid. It's just compiled really great, and it's got notes of his songs, copies of handwritten stuff. It's just really great. So The Beautiful Ones by Prince. The link to this, the link to the podcast, the link to the album, all in the description. And that's it. That's the last recommendation of the day. So with that, I hope you are a beautiful one and you stay beautiful amid this time of crisis, this time of pandemic. And basically keep striving. And you know what? Like I said yesterday, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to learn 10 new things. You don't have to learn one new thing. Surviving is enough. But this is also a vlog to say to people, hey, if you get there, if you get that opportunity, if you want to push yourself because you have more time now, you're forced to stay inside. You're forced to not do as much at work, or your schedule's lightened. This is the time that we can improve ourselves and get better. Once again, my name is Sam, DJ Lumberjack. Thank you so much for joining us. One step forward, two steps back. It's a give and take, but just remember, I love you. Everyone loves you. Reconnect with your family. Reconnect with what is what brings real purpose in your life, and that will help spark what are the things that I've been needing to improve on, or just tweak, or been neglecting. These are the things that we have an opportunity now to take care of. So look forward for a new Viral Media Network developments. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and IG. And Instagram and IG are the same thing, at viralmedia.network, or find us on Facebook, Viral Media Network, all three words, viralmedianetwork.com. This channel is, you know it as Viral Media Network 415, so make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And that song's not coming up, so we're going to try this song again. Yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow, live at 3 p.m. Hopefully we'll get even a little tighter. We're trying to whittle this down to like 20 minutes. So thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, live at 3. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Follow us in all these places. And again, this is the 25th episode of our vlog, Viral Media Network. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.